So, as you said, one of the many stars, one of the things the film attempts to do is to, get sort of pretty much everybody from the universe. The whole idea about the central time travelling gag is it means that you can have the oldies and the youngies together. But very, very early on, when Ellen Page is doing the kind of Basil exposition plot thing in which she's explaining why this is going to work, you do feel like she ought to actually say the reason we're doing this is because it means we can get all these actors together in the same film, which is great. Sometimes the film does struggle to deal with all of them. Sometimes you do feel like you see somebody and then there's another little bit and then they move on. There's also a lovely moment at the beginning when Ellen Page is sending Wolverine back in which she says, well, basically, you don't age, so you'll look exactly the same. And there is a kind of almost like an Austin Powers turn to the camera. So most of the action takes place in the 1970s, this kind of, rethought 1970s. All this stuff happens, time travel, mutant monsters, things changing, blah, 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 blah. There's a moment in it in which President Nixon is seen as being actually rather selfless and self-sacrificing. You think, OK, fine, that's the point at which you've completely lost me. I thought it was fun. It romped along. I don't think it's brilliant. I don't think it's a great... huge leap forward in terms of the comic book universe. I think it's kind of more of the same, solidly done, not as bloated as some of this fare has been in the past. Nice zippy action sequences. There's a lovely sequence with the character Quicksilver who moves so fast you can barely see him, in which everything sort of goes into slow time, to what I think you refer to in the Matrix movies like bullet time, quite literally, in which he leaps around a room dealing with bullets which are flying past everybody else, much too fast. That sequence is very nice. There are individual great moments. I think that the star of the show is Peter Dinklage as Bolivar Trask, because he does a brilliant thing about he's suave and sophisticated and therefore actually deeply sinister, but without kind of playing it up in a completely pantomime way. The cast in general do a pretty good job of delivering the pseudo-scientific, quasi-theological psychobabble script whilst wearing increasingly preposterous fancy dress.
I quite fancied that.
I know you do, yeah. And there's an awful lot of sort of looking at helmets before, you find a helmet and he's going to put the helmet on, but the next time it's not just the helmet, he's actually got a very, very handsomely cut cape. And part of you does think, where did the costumes come from? Exactly so I thought it was good fun. It was, bright and breezy to watch. I don't think it has a huge amount of weight. I think the central time-travelling gag sort of sometimes ties itself up in knots that kind of work and kind of don't. But it's okay, because that always happens with time-travelling movies anyway. That's perfectly good. Michael Fassbender was, as solid in the sort of thespian weight department as you expect. James McAvoy's having really good fun with the role. He's actually very good at looking like somebody who has lost his way, somebody who has genuinely lost the path, and during the course of the movie you're going to find that path back again. I think, like all of these things, it does feel like a roadshow. It does feel like we've got all these characters, all these...
a Radio 1 roadshow from...
Yeah, well, it's not unlike that, because it is like, here's him, and here's her, and here's her, and there's her, and very briefly that...
Because the fun starts at 10, but then you're not on air till
11. That's right. So I thought it was fun, but flimsy. I think it struggles to maintain itself because there's too much going on. There are individual set pieces in it that work quite well. All the cast, are giving it their best, despite the often ludicrous surroundings they're in. And I thought the Richard Nixon thing made me laugh.
But you have previous with...
I have previous
with President Nixon.
And your feeling?
Oh, well, I had a great time, and I do enjoy these movies. I didn't see the last one, but I did enjoy this. And there's a thing about Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy out-Englishing each other, the Irishman and the Scotsman,
because they both have to turn up later on as McKellen and Stewart. So,
but there is I'm not sure in what order these were filmed, but Fassbender puts on the Magneto mask. I'm thinking if that could be the Frank sort of mask just for one moment. They
blimey.
Just switch them round and then turn up in Frank.
I hope we get some snow.
But, he doesn't do that voice.
No, he doesn't.
So that kind of doesn't work anymore.
But he should do.